let's talk about financial planning as a process and what it entails. So this is what I call Financial Planning 101, the basics of financial planning. In a nutshell, financial planning is figuring out where you are, and let's pretend that this little dot right here is where you're at right now in your financial life, versus where you want to be sometime in the future. So of course, to get from point A to point B, we want to develop a plan. We want to know how we're going to get there. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, and of course our job is to make this process to get from point A to point B the most efficient that it can be. So where do we start? How do we look at where you're at right now? We take a snapshot in time, and that snapshot is basically looking at your financial position. Your financial position is your ratios. What percent of your portfolio is in stocks, bonds, real estate, cash, alternative investments? How much do you own? How much do you owe? Taking what you own, subtracting what you owe will give you your net worth. How much money do you make? How much money do you spend? All of these pieces go into your financial position. Once we know your financial position, we look at protection issues. What could go wrong? Planning for the unexpected is a huge portion of the financial planning process. Do you have too much insurance? Do you have too little insurance? What will happen if something really truly does go wrong? If there's a health crisis, if there's a death, if there's a disability, if you need care at some point in your later years. Then we look at your accumulation goals. What do you need to save money for? This would probably entail college education, could be a new home, could be a luxury item like a boat, those types of things. This piece of financial planning is the simple part. This is the basic part of financial planning. The more complicated piece entails retirement planning, dealing with taxes, and your estate plan. Now, in all cases, what we're looking at from the more complicated side, in all cases we're looking at what do you do now, what tools, technologies, and methodologies do you use to make sure that 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road you don't look back and say, I wish I'd done it differently. I wish they'd told me. I wish I knew about that particular strategy. So in the case of retirement planning, it may boil down to maybe you're not putting enough into the retirement portfolio. Maybe you're putting too much into the retirement portfolio and it's going to cause a tax problem. Maybe you should be considering converting some of your regular IRA over to a Roth IRA and paying taxes. Something that most accountants don't like you to do and most of us don't like to do, but sometimes it's counterintuitive. Maybe you need to be putting your money that you're going to be using the furthest away in a more risky environment so that it can appreciate more, knowing full well that it can withstand a lot more volatility in the short run. Maybe you're being too aggressive and need to be more conservative. The next piece is your tax liabilities. How do we keep more of what you make in your pocket now? But more importantly, how do we keep from paying a lot more in taxes later? So sometimes this might be a strategy that is, in fact, counterintuitive, goes against the grain. Maybe, again, you should be paying more in taxes now as opposed to less, so that down the road there's a payoff by paying far less in taxes for generations and decades to come. The last piece is your estate plan. And the estate planning process is not just for when you're gone, but it's also, are you positioned well for what happens if you should be incapacitated and don't die? Do you have a will? Do you have a power of attorney? Do you have a healthcare proxy? Have you named people to make the decisions for you when you're not able to make the decisions yourself? Once we have all of this information, we take this information and crunch the numbers and put it in the form of a financial analysis. So the financial analysis, when we crunch the numbers, we can identify essentially then what are the strategies associated with reaching your goals that best fit your situation. So we take the best strategies and we bring them up into a plan of action. And what is that plan of action? In real terms, it's a to-do list. Here's what you need to do to reach your goals. This is where our work gets more complicated, because sometimes the to-do list, that might be a very easy one. Check it off, move forward. This one you may not understand. It might be you're taking too much risk with your retirement portfolio, and you need to diversify by using an investment that you don't understand, never heard about, doesn't make a lot of sense. Most of us will avoid things that we don't understand, which is smart. So what our job is to teach. So we will essentially walk through the process as to what this investment is, what this strategy entails, and why it might best fit your financial situation. That's probably about 50% of our job, because every step of the way, our clients are basically looking for more guidance and more information before they make decisions, rather than after they make the decision, so that they can avoid making the wrong decision. Once you understand what it is we're trying to accomplish, and you feel comfortable with it, then you can put it into play for yourself. Then you can do it. So now we're on target, we're reaching our goals, we're tracking. Here you are, and all of a sudden the stock market goes awry, and we're not where we thought we were going to be, and now we need to make a course correction. We need to get back on track. So part of our job is tracking and making sure we stay on track, and course correct when necessary, because taxes will change. Our income will change. Sometimes we'll lose a job or gain a higher paying job. Our children's lives may change. Health crisis, you name it. Let's say down the road you get a package and retirement looks like it's here as opposed to here. Well, now we need to figure out how to get over there. So obviously planning is not developing a plan and setting it on a shelf and referring it from time to time. It's basically an ongoing dynamic process where once we get it in place, we're reviewing it constantly. We're constantly evaluating where you are in relation to your goals. Have your goals shifted? Are they out here? Are they out here? Are you on track towards reaching that goal? That, in a nutshell, is Financial Planning 101.